Hello everyone and welcome to round number 5 here in the Purple Sector Championship. We're here at Belgium at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps and we're here for some exciting racing action for you today. Only 9 people in the lobby, which has been a decrease from last week, but we're still going to see some fantastic racing like we have seen in every single round so far. Only me tonight as well. No Alex, unfortunately, with us tonight. He is out enjoying the races, the horse racing. I think they are doing like a concert as well there, so that is where Alex is. So it's only me tonight, and it's looking like a pretty dry qualifying. There's a couple of clouds in the background, but they're not looking great at all. So let's cut to the main game, and as you can see, they are the clouds that I was looking at. I'm just going to double check the audio to make sure we're all okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. So let's get this session underway. We've got a short qualifying and a 50% race for you here today. A couple of people hopefully will be joining in qualifying, but it's a long lap. It is a very long lap here at Spa, and even longer, of course, if it is raining. Maybe we'll see some rain in the race, but we'll have to wait and see before we get to that. Who's going to be the first one out on track then? Let me move that, actually, that purple sector logo. It's slightly in the way. Still in the way. Apologies. It seems to change week on week. Every different race you're in, it seems to be in a different position. So we've got 2 cars out on track now. First is the Alpine of Reese, just coming up Rouge and Radion now. And let's see what these lap times will be looking like. Of course, I'm not sure how much these guys have practiced for this race, so it'll be good to see a comparison between FZR's times and Purple Sector times. I'll pull up the FZR times actually for you in just a second, and I'll read them out to you 1 second. So we are looking at where are we? Standings. So the qualifying results for my tier in PSGL, 141.1 was pole position. I'll be very surprised if I see any driver in the 40s today, but I'm sure the likes of Wooly Blobs will be going for that time. I know Jensen Rowson, who was in FZR, could set a low 40, which is absolutely incredible pace. I think it was 40.3, I believe his PB was, which is mental. So Reese is on the first lap, braking into turn 1 around the 100-metre mark, just before maybe, and then hook that car around. Normally use a little bit of curb on the exit, and it's battery galore on this game. You can use so much of your battery, not get punished for it because you've got that much charge in the battery pack for the course of a lap, and it's invalidated already through Rouge and Radion, just like Osher Piastri did at the start of SQ3, I believe it was, or SQ2. Larry's made it through nicely. He was next on the lap time into this next corner. Got to brake about 75 metres, use both of these curbs just to get the car rotated nicely. Slam on the throttle as much as you dare, and as much as you trust the car to use the curb on braking, and you can get this car rotated nicely. Easy to spin out in that corner if you apply too much throttle. Quick flick to the left, use a little bit of grass on the inside, no problem with that. I think you want to stay in 7th for this corner. He opts to go into 8th and then downshifts into 7th, which is absolutely okay. He's got a Sauber in the way there. I think he does just move out of the way in time. He's shaking his rear end a little bit as well. But Larry seems to have hooked up that little chicane very nicely. And now into this right-hander, use all the curve on the exit, 15-3 middle split. We're going to need to see an improvement on that, I believe, for pole position. We've got an RB moving out of the way nicely, and it's just foot flat to the floor until the bus stop chicane, which you're braking very, very hard and very, very late, getting that car on the anchors. Miss that inside curve, I believe, and then use the second curve, unless it's the other way around, for the very, very quick laps. And Larry sets the first lap of the day, 1:44.1, but it's instantly beaten by Nate with a 1:42.8. We've got a McLaren of Venkus further on in a lap time. Looks like a decent effort as well from Venkus here in the McLaren. Shadow goes provisional pole, 1:42.454. And what can Venkus do in that McLaren then heading into the bus stop like we saw Larry do? Braking very, very late, using that inside curve. Is he going to use the second curve as well? He absolutely is. Slams on the throttle, use the rest of the battery up to the line, goes into P2, 1:42.7. What has Wooly Blobs got them around Spa-Francorchamps? Is very, very, very quick in qualifying. So we'll see what the man in VCAB can do. That is a horrible camera angle, so I'll avoid using that one. I don't know what that was on the surface, but he's got a purple first sector, so it's already looking very, very good. Last gen Nuke, 1:42.138, sets the new benchmark by about 3/10 out in the lead, just over Shadow. So see what Wooly Blobs can do on this lap. Can he improve on that benchmark and set a new challenging time for those guys behind to beat? But first of all, he's got to complete the lap. So Wooly Blobs, what has he got in his locker? Looks pretty nice through Pouon. And then now heading into chicane, nicely moving out of the way there from the Williams. Use the curb on the anchors. Follow that inside curve, and then follow the second inside curve, using the curb on the exit as well. Again, on the curb and braking. I feel like I've not said curb this much in a sentence ever. But yeah, don't want to touch the inside, which will absolutely spin your car around within a fraction of a second. If you get too much on that inside curve as well there. And just follow the line nicely through, using a little bit of the grating on the outside there, on the anchors. Locks a little bit of the rear, but he's kept him under control and flat out now until the line. Shortest run to the line, as Martin Brundle would say, and Wooly Blobs goes into P2. Last gen Nuke, 2 temps clear up front. Did that rear sliding and rear lock-up affect Wooly Blobs' lap time? I'm sure it will have done, but was it 2 temps worthy? I'm not sure. Reese is improving by about a second, 2 seconds in the first sector, but he's on a 1:49. He's ran out very, very wide, and that just bottoms the car out and loses so much time. So let's see what Reese has got in the rest of this lap time. Haringa's out on an outlap as well. Last gen Nuke. Let's see if he's going again. No, he's coming into the pit lane. So we'll continue riding on board with Reese, who's still hovering around that 2 second margin, gone very, very deep at Pouon and has invalidated his lap time. So let's cut to Haringas then. 10 minutes left on this session. Let me just check the chat, make sure everyone's okay if anyone's joining us. Let's have your predictions for this race. Hello Vigilis, Lambarda as well. Welcome in. Yeah, let's get some predictions. Who you think is going to win this race? Can Wooly Blobs as well snatch black pole position? Is he going again, actually? No, I think he is just backs off. Put Haringas in the Sauber. Let's see what he can do. We'll go on a sound lap. So you enjoy this Sauber sound in this game. This nice Ferrari engine. There we go, Ringus then up into P6. Andreas is on a lap time. I love the sound up lap me. I just love to listen to these F1 cars. It could send me to sleep. To be fair, I love the engine noises. Even though they did sound better back in the day, you've got to still appreciate the sound of a race car. Willie Blobs is actually going again, so we're right on board with him into the chicane. So he's done that pretty nicely. He's gone on the power, not touched the inside curve, which will send your car spinning, so he's done it very, very nicely. I had a little bit of that just to get the car rotated, and is 1/10 and a half up. Is it going to be enough? Remember, he had that mistake into the final chicane, into the bus stop. So if you can correct that this time, it could be on course for provisional pole. But that is a good banker for last gen new. 1:42.1 is a decent time in this qualifying session. Willie Bobs has corrected his rear lock and he's got the car stopped very, very nicely up to line. It is going to be a 41 and it's a 41.7. Wow, look how much time that gained him, about 4 or 5 tenths. Incredible job from Willie Bobs at last gen new. Have he got something to say about it? Shadow is also improving on a lap time. Let's see what last gen new can do. There is Nate actually further on in the lap and he's 8 tenths up. This could be a big lap from Nate and could see him into the 41s if he can keep improving at this rate. So right on board with him until he finishes his lap time. And that Ferrari of Nate 1808 is looking very, very strong to challenge for that front row. Here we go into the bus stop. He's rode that curve very, very nicely. A little bit of a correction as he puts the power down. Actually 2 stabs at the correction. And he does go into P3. Shadow still improving by that 1/10 and a half margin. Is it any more? Yes, it's nearly 3 tenths. As where is last gen Newt? What is he doing? 4 tenths improvement. So Shadow is going to be first across the line. Venkus is coming through the bus stop actually. So we're right on board with him as he gets the power down. Unsettled a bit on the curb. Goes into P4. Shadow into the bus stop. 3 tenths improvement. He's gone very, very deep and that's going to hamper his run to the line. And he's nearly lost it on the exit. So Shadow, can he improve? Yes, he does, but it's only half a tenth. What about last gen Newt? Goes back into provisional pole. What a lap from last gen Newt. And he's a 10th clear. Again, about half a tenth actually clear of Willie Ball. So this is going to be very, very tight from the end of this session. The front 2 absolutely clear of these guys. There's who else is coming through on a lap time is the Aston Martin of Larry on another lap. I think he absolutely is. So right on board with Larry as he heads now into P1. Feels weird, I'm used to handing off the commentary to Alex Bagnall so he can pick up on it, but it's just me tonight, guys. So please bear with me if I have a couple of breaks. Gotta save my voice for Oasis tomorrow, you know what I mean? Here we go then with Larry as he heads into the bus stop chicane. Can he get it nicely on the brakes? It's gone a little bit deep, but he's got the car stopped, he's got the car turned in, and crucially he's got the car back on the power. Using a bit of battery, goes into P6. It's a 4/10 improvement from Larry. What has Reese got up to the line? Goes into P6 and replaces Larry's position there. So decent effort from Reese and Larry. Everyone now into the pit lane as they reset. Last gen New, I'm assuming, is coming into the box as well. We've got a Williams of Shadow also coming into the box, and these guys are going to now be waiting for their final runs. 4:30 left on the clock, and one more run left for all of these drivers. Remember guys, if you want to join this Gridfinder Championship, head to gridfinder.com and get yourself involved. It is the Purple Sector Championship. It should be on the featured page. If not, you can use their search function and type in Purple Sector Championship. You'll be able to sign up on there, completely free to join, and some free prizes are available, cash prizes, and some sim racing gloves as well, if you would like to join us. Why not? It's completely free. All you have to do is race with us, and you can get yourself featured on your stream on the Gridfinder YouTube broadcasting team, brought to you by FZR Racing, which is mine and Alex's league, partnered with Gridfinder as well. So there's some more league racing action on there as well on some other days if you can't make Fridays. But yeah, here we go. A couple FZR drivers is in here as well. A couple not racing, unfortunately, today. But yeah, let's see what these guys can do on their final runs. Haringas, Andreas and Venkus all on their outlaps as well. Reese, I believe, is just trundling his way back to the pit lane, as fuel is quite an issue on this track. You fuel yourself for one qualifying lap, and then you've got your in lap just trundling round. So, Woolly Blobs also out on his outlap as well. Everybody preparing themselves for their final runs. It's going to be Andreas who's going to first cross the line to start their final flying lap. We've got 2 minutes 40 left in this session. Absolutely everything. One shot qualifying now. Everything that they've got, these drivers. Let's get the last 100th. Let's get the last 1000th out of this lap. This is their time to absolutely go for it. Andreas, what can he do with the first man across the line? It's lagging a little bit, so let's just bear with. Andreas into turn one. Can he get it in nicely? Can he get it braked and stopped in time? There's a lot of inside curb and a little slide through the mid corner, but he's got it through nicely. Now up to Eau Rouge and Radion. Fantastic set of corners, absolutely brilliant to watch. Nice line from Andreas. Let's see what his straight line speed is. I believe you want him to be running around that 3.0 on your front wing and rear wing. Anything less, about his 2,000th up on his previous lap time, so it is an improvement, however small the improvement is, but he's got it flowing in quite nicely as Andreas. Now where's he going to brake? Turns in a little bit too early, don't want to be too much on that curb, so Andreas, let's see if he can improve on his previous lap time. 1:44.3, dips his right hand front into that tyre, he's backed out on this lap. Venkus is the furthest ahead, he's half a tenth down. What about Haringas into this section as well? He actually didn't pop up his time, but I'll tell you what, he's navigated that pretty nicely. Even though he dipped the tyre into the gravel a little bit, that still would have carried some decent speed. What can Venkus do now? Into this tricky left-hander, slams on the throttle a little bit deep, but still gets it through nicely into Pouon. Committed as ever, fantastic line from Venkus. Into the chicane now, braking as late as possible, flinging in as close to the right hand curve as possible, as close to the left hand curve as possible to get the optimal line. Do not scrub off any medium speed. Any minimum speed is run deep into the gravel. That's going to massively hamper his time. He's half a tenth up. What is Haringas doing? He looks like he's got through it nicely, but Venkus is heading his way up into the bus stop chicane now. His last chance to get a lap time on the board, and that mistake down after the chicane is really probably going to hamper his lap time and hamper his lap any chances of getting into that top three. Can he improve enough to get into P3? He absolutely can, and does go into P3 for the time being. Haringas goes into P8, actually stays in P8. Woolly Blobs is going to be next to cross the line. He's still just coming through Pouon now. Pretty nice. Venkus has retired. He's done from this session. The Ferrari's had a little spin. That is Nate. That is a huge error for Nate. And that means he's maximum P4, so I think Venkus is going to be pretty glad about that. Woolly Blobs, let's see his middle split. Can he challenge for pole position? He also dipped his tyre, but he's 3.5 tenths up. This could be huge. What is last gen Newt doing in the middle sector? Let's see if he's improving, only by just under a tenth. So Woolly Blobs looks on course to take pole position here if he can get this bus stop chicane absolutely spot on. Let's see what he can do. Then into the bus stop, he's got it stopped very, very nicely. Oh, he's got the power down as well. This could be a big lap from Woolly Blobs. What is it? Up to line 141.6, only just. Last Gen Newt is improving as well. Up to the line, Last Gen Newt takes it back away from Woolly Blobs. Fantastic effort. Nate, of course, had that spin. Shadow is going to be the last person to deny fourth provisional pole or the front row, apart from Larry, who is also on a lap behind. So Shadow, 2 cars remain now. Last Gen Newt looks clear out front from any threat behind, but Shadow up to the line. Can he improve enough for a top 4? No, not quite. Larry through the bus stop as well. He's half a tenth down. What can he do up to the line? Takes a short one to the line and stays in P7. What a qualifying session at the end. Swapping and changing. And yeah, what an effort. Willie Blobs just misses out on pole position by just over a tenth. Last Gen Newt, fantastic effort in the Sauber, 141.530, and grabs pole position over the championship leader. Nice one. What do we think of that qualifying session then, guys? I think it was tense, pretty hectic. Hello, Martinez, in the chat as well. How are you doing? Is everyone's lined on the grid. It's looking a bit more grey than qualifying, but I don't think we'll see any rain unless it's late on in this race. Everyone now just selecting their strategies, and we'll take you through lights out very, very shortly. Oh my goodness, have I just missed the entire race start because I've been on mute? I'm so sorry guys, I didn't realise I was on mute. But yeah, one DNF from the start. There's a huge shunt at the back, and Reese as well did not get off the line and has been disqualified. Oh, I've just missed the entire start because I was on mute. That is so frustrating. But yeah, Willie Blobs nearly got overtaken just before that VSC, and Last Gen Newt couldn't quite make the move before the VSC was called. So Last Gen Newt looking to push for that position already. The end of lap 1 then. Willie Blobs still in the lead of this race. Venka's got the lunge on Shadow, got the run into a Rouge. Willie Blobs sets the fastest lap of the race after that VSC on lap 1. But yeah, Andreas, huge shunt at the start on the top after Radion. Not sure who he was collided with, but yeah, and then Reese did not get off the line, so again did disqualify him. I'm so frustrated that I was on mute there, guys, I do apologise. Venka's pushing for the move then. That's going to force Last Gen Newt to use a little bit of battery, and just has to stay behind both cars as well. Shadow has dropped out of that 1 second range for DRS, but he should be able to gain back in with these guys bunching up in the next set of corners, and yes, he absolutely has. Larry also pressing for the move on Nate. There's a Haringas and everybody left in this race are in the DRS range of one another. As here we go then. Nate is the closest man to anybody else on track at the moment. It is fine margins to everybody in this train. Last gen Newt then. Is he going to be able to stay with Josh Woolley? If Josh Woolley breaks away, and we've seen it so many times in FZR, which is our league, mine and Alex's. If the leader breaks out of the DRS, they can just extend that gap lap on lap, and they just can't get back within if they don't have anyone to work with. So yeah, if they break that DRS, it looks like a certain win at this moment for Woolly Blobs. But Last Gen Newt is hanging on. He's got a little bit of batch to play with. Woolly Blobs 145.226. Everybody, apart from Larry and Haringas, are on the hard compound tyres as well. So there's no tyre difference at this stage in the race. I'm sure there will be further down. Nate is very, very close to the back of Shadow. And are we going to see a move on the Kemmel straight here for Nate on the Williams driver of Shadow? He's closing in, but I think Shadow just has enough battery to keep the Ferrari at bay. Haringas though looking for a move on Larry on the Kemmel straight, and he's got that move done nicely before the braking zone. So the Sauber up into P6. Good job there from Haringas. We will ride back on board then with Last Gen Newt as he chases down still Woolly Blobs. I think he's now comfortably within that DRS range. So yeah, throughput on. Warnings are going to be a crucial factor. Time penalty is going to be a crucial factor from the end of this race. You don't want a time penalty if you're in a train, so that will absolutely destroy your final finishing position. Just because everyone is so close fighting. Last Gen Newt is back again, struggling to stay within that DRS range. I think he's just got enough battery to play with, but 9 times it's hovering around that 1 second window, so he needs to ensure he can stay comfortably within that DRS of Woolly Blobs. Otherwise the championship leader will just be able to pull away. Has he got DRS in his straight? Yes, you heard that beep in the background. That means his rear wing will be open, which you can see just there. But will he have it for the Kemmel straight? It's 1.1. I don't think he will have it by the time the detection code zone comes, which I believe was just there on the exit of turn 1. So Last Gen Newt will have a look in cinematic cam. Will he get that rear wing open this time? I do not think he will. So Woolly Blobs, has he just run away with this one already on lap 4? And there's the DRS line. And no, he does not have that DRS open. Venkus looking to press for a move nice and early on, but can't quite make anything stick. Larry, is he going for a move into the next set of corners? It absolutely is. It's side by side, very close between the two. They do well not to make any contact. Bit of a late move from Haringas there. Larry won't enjoy that. Is Larry going to send one down the inside here in the next set of corners? No, he is not. And Larry just stays in P7. Can't quite make the move that Haringas did on the last lap on him. Nate just hanging around at the back as well of this pack, still well in contention. And if you finish this race, you're guaranteed at least a top 7, which is still very good points on the road. Spa, very difficult circuit as well. One that was on PSGL sign-ups as well, so if any of these guys did sign up for PSGL, they should have a decent bit of pace. But yeah, Woolly Blobs leading the way. Venkus has actually dropped out slightly of that DRS range, but I think he's got enough battery just to stay within for this lap. So he needs to hope that these guys ahead fight as Last Gen Newt has actually got back within that DRS range of Woolly Blobs. So maybe he's got a little bit more downforce than Woolly Blobs. Maybe Woolly Blobs has a bit less wing, which means he's faster on the straight. But yeah, good job from the Sauber to get back within P1's DRS. As they're actually fighting on the start-finish straight, Larry gets past Haringas, which means Haringas is just going to have the DRS to fly straight back past him after a Rouge and Radion and on the Kemmel straight. But you can see, look how much Woolly Blobs gains in a straight line. He's already, that gap we saw was about 4 or 5 tenths into the bus stop. He's already about 8 tenths But with that DRS, last gen Nuke can make the move and make that gap close in a little bit. Venka's still struggling to stay within that DRS, and now Shadow's also struggling. He's got Nate pressuring in behind, as Haringas does, as we expected, go straight back past Larry for P6. Then those gaps starting to extend out as well, as is Dirty Air too much on this track? We've seen a couple of people complain about it in the higher tiers, because Shadow 1 second out from Venkas, 1.2 away from Last Gen New, and Last Gen New is just got within that 1 second range, I think, for the DRS straight on the start finish to Woolly Blobs. Reese has left the session after not getting away off the start line, so he's not going to be very happy about that one. But yeah, Last Gen New still comfortably within that DRS. I don't think Venkas has got it on this lap though. It's very, very close, about 1,000th away from that DRS, and Shadow, unfortunately, as well, without that DRS as well on the start finish straight. So fine margins here today. Dirty Air, very, very crucial. Not sure about any warnings for these guys. I haven't seen any warnings as of yet, visibly. But Last Gen New still within that DRS, and lap 6 out of 22. Are we going to see any moves anytime soon? We absolutely are, from Nate, who goes down on the Camel straight and gets past Shadow using that DRS, and Nate is up into P4. It's that slingshot up to Venkas using that DRS. It is about 5/10 away. He needs to push hard with the remaining battery that he's got to get that 6/10 window. Lariat and Haringas going side by side battling. Not too sure where Haringas is going there. I think that's a new track layout for him. But yeah, Larry makes the move stick into the chicane. Very, very tricky hairpin this one, especially in race. Very, very easy to spin out. So is No Name, as if you touch that curb too much and into the grass, you will spin your car out. But yeah, look how close Last Gen New is here to the back of Woolly Blobs. Let's go cinematic camera, because we haven't had much of that this race. And Woolly Blobs still leads the way on lap 6. Plenty of racing action left to go, and plenty of overtakes hopefully as well left to see in this race. You can see that gap just goes to about 3/10 in the bus stop, and then Last Gen New just falls away a little bit on the traction zone. But I think this is the closest he's been so far, as Woolly Blobs goes a little bit deep. So if Last Gen New can get decent traction here, he could be in a good spot to have a little look on the overtake, as Larry is into the pit lane. So let's have a look at the tyres then. What's he going to go? He's probably going to go onto the hards, unless he's going for a 2-stop. But yeah, Last Gen New, that gap just extends out to about 7/10 through Eau Rouge and Radion. But this is the closest he's been, and that's rain. Is that rain? I think that's rain. It is. I did not expect to see rain on Larry straight on the intermediates, and I think that is very, very early. But yeah, I did not expect to see any rain here today, and this is throwing a real spanner in the works. As Woolly Blobs, Last Gen New, what are they going to do? Need to be on the right tyres at the right time, as Martin Brundle will say. Has the grip gone already? Because you can see Woolly Blobs flying wide at Eau Rouge. But yeah, this has brought some excitement to the race. I thought we weren't going to see any more overtakes, to be quite frankly honest with you. But there we go, the rain has started falling, as Larry is losing time already to the back of Haringas, so I don't think it was the right call to go that early onto the intermediates. I think there's at least one more lap. But yeah, I said those clouds were darker than qualifying, and the rain will come at the end of the race, but the rain has arrived on lap 7, and to be honest, I didn't expect to see any rain today with those clouds. It looked pretty light for some rain. Now, I have had a couple of races where it has been like this rain, and then the track just not getting damp. There's a bit of contact here between Venkas and Nate, so we'll keep on board with this action. Shadow, this is for the podium position then. There's into turn 1. Nate and Shadow just have to sit behind Venkus. Are these guys starting to struggle a little bit on grip? We'll ride cinematic cam with Venkus as we see if any of these guys can make a move on the Camel Straight after Eau Rouge and Radion. 2.5 attempts. His Shadow is closing, is going to go for a move whilst the DRS is still activated. He's choosing the outside line, but he's going to have that move cleared and done before the braking zone. So yeah, Shadow up to P3 for the first time in this race. Good effort from the Williams. Larry has lost about 3 seconds since pitting onto those intermediates, so I don't think it was quite ready. And I still don't think it's ready. You need to kind of look for the spots of rain and little dots that you'll see on the track surface. That's when you know it's time, and that's when you know it's ready for the intermediate tyres. As that gap is still hovering around the same between these two, despite the weather, despite anything that you throw, these guys will be about 7 tenths within each other. There's 7 lap old hards now. Were they expecting the rain to come a little bit later? Were those on mediums having the right call? 2 of the 3 medium runners have unfortunately retired or disqualified themselves from this race. So not able to really see a representation between which was the best tyre to go for. Ringus was caught up battling with Larry for quite a long time, but yeah, he's lost about 4.5 seconds now as Larry still not ready for those intermediate tyres. There's 9 tenths. We're not going to see a move, even with the DRS on this occasion. Are we going to see a move from the McLaren on the Williams just before the DRS gets disabled? No, not quite again. So about 3 tenths, just under 3 tenths. That might be a warning for Ben, because that was very, very close to the track limits. Nate is struggling. He's just fallen outside that 1 second window. But with these guys bunching up again, he's got back within that DRS range. As long as it's still activated, these guys can use it in the dedicated zones. We've got 2 of them in Spa-Francorchamps. But yeah, once it gets too damp, the FIA will declare the track too wet, and that DRS will be disabled for safety. Just can't be going too fast. You risk some aquaplaning maybe, and also risk further collision just in those damp conditions. But as of now, the track seems to not be getting damp despite the rain still falling. Been falling for about 3 or so laps now, I think, or 2-3 laps. And last gen new, this is the closest he's been to Willy Bob's actually, I believe. Yeah, under 3 tenths now, closing up into the bus stop chicane. But you can just see Willy Bob's gets a fantastic exit out of the bus stop, and already that gap back up to 8 tenths. That 10 out of 22. There's Venkus gets past Shadow as well. They're going side by side into turn 1. Nate's going to have a fantastic view of this. Let's have a look. Oh, bit of rear locking from the Williams. He's left the space though on the outside to the McLaren, and Nate's still just in behind, looking to pounce on any move. He's going to use the bit of battery. I thought he was going to go for a move into a Rumours then, but that would be very, very risky, especially in the damp. It'd be risky in the dry, never mind the rainy surface. But the Williams pushing for the move. He's got the DRS, so has the Ferrari. Is the Ferrari going to go for a move as well? The Williams definitely is. And I think the McLaren is just going to slot in between these two, and he absolutely does. So yeah, Shadow back up into P3 then, despite whatever happened on the start finish straight. Larry back into the pit lane. I think he's going to go back onto some slick tyres, because the track, he tried the inters, but it just hasn't worked for him at all. So yeah, he's going to go back onto a pair of the softs just until the track is ready. So unfortunate for Larry, wrong strategy call here today, but let's see if he can make any ground on the softs and then hope for a safety car or virtual. He really needs a safety car, if anything. I respect it though, trying something bold undercut, expected it to get damp pretty soon, and just unfortunately the track never turned to intermediate conditions. It still slicks. I don't even know if it is going to go to intermediate conditions. Let me just update myself on the chat. Is anyone else saying anything? Not yet. Not yet. As Nate's going for a little send down the inside into the bus stop chicane. A little bit of loss of the raise. And are these guys starting to feel, just as Larry boxes, are they starting to feel that it's getting ready for the intermediate conditions? Certainly not full grip conditions, as Nate's struggling to get the car stopped as well. But I actually think that was a combination of Ventus going deep and Nate just braking a little bit late there. And Shadows drops them by 1.7 seconds. Nate gonna need to slingshot here while he's got the DRS still and get back within that DRS range. As Haringas is into the pit lane. Are those mediums one, or is he going to go for the intermediates? You can start to see now the dots on the track. I think it is time for intermediates. Huge send from Nate. Venkus leaves the space, but Nate goes off track, and I think he's going to have to give that position back to Venkus, which he absolutely does. You can see the dots that I was talking about earlier start to be formed on the track now, and I think it is starting to get very, very close to intermediates. You can see these guys sliding around. Haringas has had a fantastic call here, I think, on the intermediates, but he was fighting with Larry for so much of this opening start of the race. So Haringas, I'll be surprised if he's back within this fight for P5. But yeah, good call. I think this is the lap to box now. So let's see what Woolly Blobs does. And last gen note, these guys have been running in the pretty much the same order and the same distance between each other for the entirety of this race. We're about halfway through now. Lovely camera angle there. I love that camera inside the halo. You can see pretty much what the driver would see in real life. Is Woolly Blobs going to go into the pit lane? No, he's not. Last gen new also staying out. Let's see what Shadow thinks to do. That gap's open by about another second to the cars behind. So Shadow, is he going to pull into the pit lane? He absolutely is. I love this little differential strategy from Shadow to the top two. I think he thinks it's ready, and to be honest, I've got to agree. We'll see if that strategy works out then for Shadow. Nate also into the pit lane. Haringas just coming through into the third sector now. I don't think he's unfortunately going to be able to make any positions up, but I think he was on the right strategy there. Larry on the softs, and it's just a shame for Larry. He comes off the inters because it's still not ready. As soon as he goes back onto the drives, he's ready for inters, so it's just unfortunate for Larry. I feel bad for him. 4 drivers left on the slicks. Right then, is this now the lap time that these guys box? 3 drivers on the intermediates. Let's actually have a look at the gap to leader. 28.1 for these guys. And they are gaining. They are gaining. So it is intermediate conditions on track at the moment. These guys up front have to stop anyway. So I think this is the lap that they will go onto the intermediate tyres. It's pretty... I think it's a medium-sized pit lane here. If anything, it's pretty short. Just quite awkward to get into. But yeah, Woolly Blobs is coming into the pit lane on this lap. So is Last Gen Nuke. Is Last Gen Nuke going to be able to brake a little bit later into the pit lane and gain a little bit more time? There's Woolly Blobs. Nice and cautious into the pits. So, the RB pit crew, the Sauber pit crew, are going to work hard here. There goes Woolly Blobs into the pit, onto the intermediates. There goes the Sauber pit crew. Over Last Gen Nuke, onto the intermediates as well. Venkus into the pit lane as well, so we'll ride a ball with that McLaren. Lovely number on that McLaren as well. Props to Valtteri Bottas, big respect. Shadow gets into P3, can't quite make the move on the front two, but does make up a little bit of time. And Last Gen Nuke is close to the back of Woolly Blobs here. Still, I think there is DRS in this session. Let's have a look. yes, there is still DRS at the moment. I'm not sure when that will get disabled. That might be the last lap actually to use the DRS. It is starting to rain a little bit harder now, and you can definitely see the track getting damper, and there is DRS disabled on lap 13 out of 22. So yeah, 7.5 seconds from Shadow to the leaders. Nate and Venka's both got dropped a little bit. I'm not actually sure what happened. He stayed out one lap extra, didn't he? So yeah, that just shows you that's cost him about 2 seconds. It's cost him about 5 seconds actually, because he was fighting with Nate. And then Shadow's had a fantastic strategy call and broke away just before as well, and that's that gap to P5 and P4 has extended to about 3.7 seconds now. So yeah, it's going to be these two you fight to look out for on the fight for the lead, and the fight for those 25 points in the Perfect Sector Championship. Reminder, if you'd like to get involved to win some free cash prizes and some sim racing gloves, head to gridfinder.com, get yourself involved with these races, completely free to enter, and prizes are at stake. You might as well. Like, if you finish in this race, you're guaranteed points, so why wouldn't you try? Free prizes, basically. Free prizes, and who doesn't want that? If you consistently race, you're most likely to get in a spot for some at least sim racing gloves if you're quick enough, or even if you just want a little bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, let's have a look then. As we're on lap 14 now, out of 22, you can definitely see the track has got a lot damper. You can see more of those white dots on the track. That is just the rain forming on the track, staying on the surface, not getting swept away by the slick tyres. And these intermediates working much better than the softs now. Larry, after getting the strategy wrong twice, unfortunately, has picked up now a 3-second time penalty. It's gone from bad to worse. Last Gen Root just trying to stick with Woolly Blobs, like we've seen so far in this race. It's looking like a certain 1-2 for these today. Just which way round is it going to be? Last Gen Root has been following Woolly Blobs for pretty much 95% of this race, so is he going to finish like this, or is Last Gen Root going to pull off a fantastic move later on in the race? We'll have to wait and see, so stick with us, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Shadow is looking set for a podium as well as Nate. I don't know actually, we'll have to see these guys' intermediate pace, as it's been a while in the Championship, I believe, that we've had rain, so yeah, we'll have to see what everyone's pace is. Probably like a few more laps in to his intermediate stint, but it should be into to the end. We're approaching lap 15 now, and towards the end of this race. Who's more confident on traction than Woolly Blobs? Did get a fantastic exit on the dries through the bus stop chicane. Last Gen Newt seems to have actually gained a little bit there on Woolly Blobs compared to what he was in the dry in the bus stop chicane. So yeah, this could be a fight to watch. Definitely is the fight of the race so far. Maybe could argue Haringas and Larry was the fight to watch towards the start, but now this is for the race win, so of course we're going to gravitate to this one. Spa is just so unpredictable with the weather. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. As yeah, these guys fighting for the race win in mixed conditions race. What more could you ask for in a historic circuit like this that used to be so much longer than it already is? I think it's the longest track on the calendar. It could be Baku actually, but I don't think it is Baku. Especially in the wet, these guys. It's a tough lap. It's a long lap. But yeah, lap 15 out of 22 now. And these guys absolutely flying. Out front, 9.3 to P3. So, like I said earlier, it's pretty much guaranteed a 1-2 if they don't come together. I'm just going to turn the fan on because it's getting a bit warm here. Hopefully that's not blowing into the microphone. I don't think it is. But yeah, 4 seconds the gap from Nate to Shadow as well. So I think that's stayed around the same. Last Gen Newt still, you can see how much wetter the track has got. As you can see, it's almost oily looking. How it's actually broke away from that 1 second. So that means you're not going to get the DRS obviously in the wet anyway, but it's crucial, probably not going to get that much of a slipstream as well. So this could be difficult for Last Gen Newt to stay with Woolly Blobs. I think Last Gen Newt does have a bit more downforce than Woolly Blobs, but there's a long way of straight to go. So Woolly Blobs could pull away even further here down the Kendall straight. But yeah, lap 16 out of 22. Purple Sector Championship, round 5. It's going to be a good end. It's going to be a good end. Woolly Blobs absolutely dominant so far. Let me just update myself on the standings. Let's go Grid Finder on Instagram. Grid_finder, that is. So yeah, Belgian Grand Prix today. The results after Imola, which was round 4, Josh Woolley gains 25 points. So Josh Woolley is in the lead of the championship by 16 points, I believe, to Justinus. Larry sitting in P4. I think that's Venkus in P3. Justinus, I believe, might be Last Gen Newt. Unless that's Shadow. Nate is sitting in P5 on 28 points. Charlie Spence in P8 as well. Oh no, Last Gen Newt is in P6, sorry. So who is that in P2? Is that Shadow? I think that might be Shadow. So yeah, Spa for round 5. And then next week will be a thriller as well. So we had a break week last week as well, so sorry if you missed us. But yeah, we're on a break week, just like PSGL this week, and then we'll be back once again next week as well. So if you'd like some more league racing action after this as well, FCDR, which is the Grid Finder broadcasting partners for the Purple Sector Championship, their league, also my league, is running a stream after this. I'll be jumping on the commentary to that one as well, so back-to-back streams for me, and that is our Tier 2 running on Fridays after the Purple Sector Championship. Tier 1 runs on Wednesday, and Tier 3 runs on Monday as well. So keep an eye out as well, because a big announcement for FCDR is coming pretty soon, so make sure you join the Discord server for that in the FCDR Instagram bio, Formula 0 Racing on Instagram. But yeah, let's focus back on the Purple Sector Championship then. Lap 17 out of 22. Last Gen Newt has just dropped back a little bit, 1.3 seconds behind Woolly Blobs. Woolly Blobs looking and cruising out front, it seems, but you can just see the glare back from the track. It is so wet out there now. Look at that. You could just skid off at any moment at all. It must be like driving on ice, but these guys are so gentle on the throttle. Tickle the throttle, as Martin Bundle would say. Don't get on the curves much, as that could send you spinning, especially the inside ones like this, and especially the one that Woolly Blobs is about to go. That inside curve will be absolutely killer in the wet, so don't be touching that, and you should be fine. Last Gen Newt has gained a couple tenths back in the middle sector. Like I said, I think he has got a little bit more downforce than Woolly Blobs, so maybe higher wings. Maybe that car is glued a bit more to the track. But yeah, coming to the latter stages of this race now, as this is the one to watch. P1, fight for P1, P2 Last Gen Newt, just in behind, lap 18 out of 22. Not long left to go now. Not long at all. A lovely shot there as they head up to Eau Rouge now, chasing by the big green machine. I think Sauber are going to have a fantastic end to this season in real life as well, especially after that Hulkenberg podium in Silverstone. It's just, I would just wish that was Bottas on the podium. Bottas is my favourite driver, if you guys didn't know already. I would have absolutely loved, taking nothing away from Hulkenberg, by the way. Fantastic achievement for him after, what were it, 230 something races, 237 races, something like that, without a podium. Finally gets a podium in a team that was a backmarker last year. So yeah, I can't wait for Bottas to be back in the grid, but I just would have loved Bottas to be back on the podium there in that Sauber. But much of things didn't work out. I think it was the wrong choice and the wrong call for him to go to Alfa Romeo in general. The first year he didn't do too bad. I think he got P10 in the championship, but yeah, just after that it didn't quite go to plan. I would have loved to see him at Williams. I would have absolutely loved to see Valtteri Bottas back at Williams. But yeah, absolute steal of a signing there for Williams, getting Carlos Sainz. What a driver! What a driver! Simon gets season coming that. Not that all many. But here we go then. On to the end of lap 18s, coming on to lap 19. As last Shenmue starting to close a little bit on the back in the bus stop. It's like the opposite of what we saw last time. Last Shenmue started to lose time at the end of the bus stop. Now he's gaining time and then he's losing it back on the traction of turn 1. So yeah, lap 19 out of 22. Willie Blob's looking clear in the lead, but you know, last Shenmue still in the slipstream, and one small mistake from Willie Blobs and this could be wide open for last Shenmue. They've extended that gap to P3 by nearly 13 seconds, so it's been a mega drive from both of these. I think whichever one comes out on the race win has to be driving the day here as well, because it's been dominant control from both of them, and they've both pushed themselves even harder and built that gap up to P3. So yeah, guaranteed podium for both of these. Pretty much guaranteed podium as well for Shadow, given that he doesn't get a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, Willie Blobs and Last Gen have been absolutely phenomenal this race, and just cruising out in the lead. Now we're just waiting to see them fight for the final winning spot for P1. Cannot wait for that, if it does come, because this gap's been hovering the same for pretty much the entire race. But yeah, come on guys, let's have a bit of scrapping. 2 penalties, then 3-second time penalty for Haringas and 3-second time penalty for Larry. That's the only 2 we've seen in these races, this race so far. I think it's more difficult in the wet to pick up a penalty than it is in the dry here at Spa, just because you've got to reduce your speed by that much. But yeah, the penalty right now will only really hamper either these guys get fighting for the lead. It would solidify the other one their winning spot, or for Shadow as well, because that gap to Nate is about 3.2. So yeah, only a penalty could really affect and might put a bit of pressure on Shadow to keep that window over 3 seconds, which he's hovering very, very close to at the moment. But yeah, if Willie Blobs or Last Shenmue gets a penalty in these final couple laps, then that's pretty much guaranteed the other person to win. Here we go, the rain now falling at Spa. The fans are absolutely loving it in the grandstands. All sorts of nations' flags flying. I can see Norway, I can see Sweden, I can see Great Britain, I can see Spain. And I can also see all the marshals who are volunteering at this track. Shout out to all the marshals as well on F1 race days. Absolutely brilliant work that they do, keeping us and the drivers all safe throughout the race weekend. So big shout out to them. But yeah, lap 20 out of 22. And Last Gen Newt still hovering around the 3/4 of a second margin to Willie Blobs, but I don't think it's just so hard to overtake in the wet, and it's so hard to overtake in Spa in general without the DRS. So we'll have to see. A couple laps to go. Is this going to be the finishing order, or can Last Gen Newt pressure Willie Blobs into a mistake? He'll be starting to sweat. He'll be starting to wake now, after doing such long laps around this tricky circuit. It's corner after corner. You only get really a break on this straight and also on the Camel straight. Other than that, it's just corner after corner, like I say. So Last Gen Newt still closes into the back. I think his best opportunity actually would be going for a move into this bus stop chicane, because that's where he seems to get closest. You just need a fantastic run out of the previous corner, but Last Gen New hovering around 6 tenths to the back on this lap to Willie Blobs. We're on, and we're starting the penultimate lap of the race, so there's one more after this lap. But yeah, that gap between Shadow and Nate has shrunk by about 7 tenths, so we've seen a battle start to brew up on the final lap here. Venkus has chopped off, unfortunately, as well in the wet condition. 10 seconds adrift from Nate, but still is going to come home in P5. That is the benefit of staying in these races. And these guys, they could be well on the way to win some prizes given out by the Purple Sector Championship, given out by Group Finder as well. I think it's top 5 get a pair of Traction.gg gloves. So yeah, sim racing gloves, that is it. Brilliant prizes for a completely free entry, and top 3 have a share of a prize pool as well, cash prize pool. So why, I don't understand why you wouldn't get involved, to be honest. Just head to gridfinder.com and sign up there for your place in this championship. Only 9 drivers today, so absolutely we can find a spot for you. It was meant to be a full grid, but I don't know why, but people seem to not want free prizes. So if you want to claim that free prize and race here, either just for fun or competitively at the top like Willie Blobs and Last Gen New, then absolutely get yourself signed up, completely free entry, and you could be in the chance of winning some prize. A little bit deep there from Willie Blobs as he's starting to feel the pressure on the penultimate lap now. Riding the curb, Last Gen New, I told you don't want to ride those curbs, otherwise, as you saw there, it just unsettles that car very, very much. But yeah, we're heading now on to the run to the last lap of the race. 2.3 is around the gap to Nate as well from Shadow, so I think that is going to stay as it is. Shadow probably going to take the final podium position if he doesn't get a penalty on this final lap. But here we go, Willie Blobs is taking us on to the final lap now, and it's been a dominant race from these two at the front. But yeah, this is going to be a fight to the end. Here we go then, through turn 1, Last Gen New looking to challenge on Willie Blobs, but I think he's not going to be close enough to make a move on the end of the Kennel Straight like we've seen so often, pretty much every single lap on this race. As that rain, the heavens have opened and the rain is falling very, very hard now. It'll be very tricky for these drivers to keep it on track, never mind putting the overtakes together. But Last Gen New is pushing forward, he's not going to give up the fight until the very, very last bit of throttle he needs to put into this car for this race. So Last Gen New pushing as hard as he can to get as close to Willie Blobs as possible. His best overtaking point is into the bus stop chicane, which is right at the end of the lap. That is where he's been getting as close to Willie Blobs as ever throughout this race. Couldn't seem to get close to him in the first sector at all through this race, but you can see now 4 tenths is the gap to Willie Blobs, and he's very, very close now actually. Is he going to go for a send into the next corner? Surprise send. No, just opts to stay behind, but still another overtaking point. It's all come down to this lap 22. Out of 22, these guys have stayed together for the full 22 laps. It's been a while. It's been about an hour since we started here. 1 hour 6 minutes to be exact, but Last Gen New needs to have a good run out of this corner. He's using all the battery he has, but so is Willie Blobs. Is Willie Blobs going to be able to keep? He's got a lot of battery to play with. That gap's around 5 tenths of a second, 4 tenths of a second. It needs to be a big lunge if he's going to go for a move down the inside. Is he going to go for it? Last Gen New, he's going to be late on the brakes, try and pressure Willie Blobs into a mistake under traction, but Willie Blobs has got it nicely, he's got it calmly, and crucially, he's got it over the line in time, and that is Willie Blobs taking the lead and taking the win from Last Gen New here at round 5 in Spa. Willie Blobs from Last Gen New, and Shadow is going to come home. Nate actually did close up about 2 seconds in that final lap to Shadow, but Shadow is going to claim that P3 and that final podium spot here in Purple Sector. Nate P4, solid recovery drive at the end there to gain so much time back on Shadow. Venkus staying in his race, comes home in P5, just dropped off a little bit before the pit stops, and that's hampered him not being able to push as hard as he would have wanted behind those other cars. Faringas and Larry are going to come home with P6 and P7. Larry, it's just such a shame for him He went on to the Inters trying to gamble on the strategy, and it wasn't quite ready. Switched back to the dries. As soon as he switched to the dries, it went to intermediate conditions. So Larry, unfortunate for him, not the right strategy, but Woolly Blobs at the front, absolutely mega drive from the RB, the already championship leader. He's extended his margin out front. Last Gen knew he was going to pick up some very good points as well. Probably move him up a place or two in the Drivers' Championship and on course for those cash prizes and those physical prizes as well in the form of sim racing gloves, which Grid Finder are giving out completely for free if you would like to sign up as well to the Purple Sector Championship. So yeah, it's been a very, very good race here. Been a dominant race from the front too, and hopefully get some more numbers as well next week, because the racing we do have here is very, very good. It's very respectful as well, but Woolly Blobs comes out on top and extends his lead in the championship. Woolly Blobs in P1, followed by Last Gen New. That has been a very, very good race. A long race, but it's still been a good race. And there is Woolly Blobs celebrating on the top of the podium. I'm going to grab a screenshot of the results then, and I'm also going to grab the exported session results, and yeah, there we go. That is the race done and dusted for Purple Sector. I'm going to jump into the Tier 1 race for FZR, so you can join us there, twitch.tv/FZR, moving over from YouTube now to Twitch. So yeah, I'll catch you all very, very soon, and we'll see you next week in the Purple Sector Championship. Same time next week, we'll see you then.